Hi, my name is Eva, and this video is going to be about the GRAPE CURE, a very interesting but controversial topic. So, the GRAPE CURE was a book that was written by Joanna Brandt, and very interesting, almost 100 years ago. So, a very long time actually. And she was a doctor from South Africa, and she had a very, very bad cancer in her stomach, and so she was experimenting with different forms of healing, and she developed a healing mechanism that led to her being healed from this very bad cancer, and then she lived for 40 more years. And very interesting, this healing mechanism that she developed was about eating grapes and fasting. So probably very crazy to a lot of people, and a lot of, like, even now a lot of scientific scientific institutions say that it's not really reliable, but I think it's still interesting to think about it. So very, very interesting is that she, as she says here, the grape is a highly antiseptic and powerful solvent of organic matter deposits, fatty degeneration, morbid and malignant growth. It acts as a drastic eliminator by building new tissue. So what she wanted was basically to get rid of all the toxins that you have in your body, because when you have cancer, you're sick. So you have a lot of toxins stored in your body, and she wanted to get rid of them, make the body, and at the same time she wanted to heal the body and create new cells that are based on healthy cells. So just new healthy cells, and she wanted to use grapes in order to flush out the old toxins and in order to help to grow new, better cells. And this concept, I've already talked about this concept so much on this channel. It's the concept of detoxing, so that you get rid of toxins that store in your body when you eat, for example, junk food, but also when you smoke, or when maybe your boyfriend or your mom and dad smoke, or when you live in an area that is very polluted. So all of those toxins get in your body, and when you don't detox, you will develop very bad illnesses such as cancer or heart attack, stroke, etc. Because all of those toxins just manifest in much worse illnesses. So it's very important to detox, and a great way to detox is by eating fruit, because it gives your body the possibility and the time that the body needs in order to focus less on digestion of junk food and more on detoxing. So a very old concept, and the same concept already was used by Arnold Ehret. He lived at the same time as Anna Brandt, and I think for me it's just very interesting to see that all of those concepts about detoxing and about eating more fruit and vegetables and about mucusless diet, etc., and fasting are not new. They were not invented 5 years ago, but we knew about all of this hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But the thing is that people forgot about this, and I think that's quite sad. So how does this grape diet actually work? Because she, very interesting, she went from South Africa to New York and founded a whole hospital where she said, okay, people who have different illnesses, they can come here, they can try the grapes diet and try to heal. And actually in the book describes how a lot of people healed their conditions by going on this process of eating a lot of grapes. So what's the process and what's Brandt's method? So the first thing is that you fast for 2 days, and you also get daily an enema. So the whole process, you get daily an enema in order to get rid of the toxins. And the second step is that you have basically a fast. So you fast on grapes for 2 more weeks, and you just eat grapes, drink water, and if it's bad, you can also drink grapes juice. And this should help to build new material and get rid of toxins, of course. And the third step is after those 2 weeks, you are reintroduced to solid foods. So, to fruits again, vegetables again, and also to, your kind of normal diet. But Joanna Brandt really emphasized that it's very important to eat as much raw food as possible, because raw food have enzymes, are very, very, very healthy. So she emphasized it. And again, very interesting that she already knew about this concept over almost 100 years ago. And my opinion about this is that I first find this book to be quite interesting. You can find it, by the way, on Amazon or eBay secondhand. It's not that big, and it's interesting. And I find it to be very interesting that we today forgot about this, that most people don't know about this method of healing. And I mean, it's quite sad that because we have in our Western society, we have this concept of biomedicine, and I think from my experience, from my research, I think it's important to open your eyes to different healing methods, because I, in my opinion, think that this system that we have now with biomedicine and it's basically very symptom based. So you have one symptom, for example, you have cancer in your stomach, and then we just look like, oh, we have to get rid of this cancer in the stomach, of course, but that's not the only thing that we have to do. I mean, we have to shift our whole life, because when we have cancer, it's a sign that something in our life, the way we eat, the way we do stuff, is not working. So we have to change. And cancer is already a sign. It's just a sign that we are not healthy, that our whole body is not healthy. So in my opinion, I think that just looking at the symptom, for example, oh, I have, for example, cholesterol in this one artery, and then you have to get a stent to keep this artery open. That's just a short-term solution. But the long-term solution is to change your lifestyle, to eat healthier, to move, to not consume so much cholesterol, so don't eat so much animals and animal products like cheese and dairy and stuff like that. It's very important to find a long-term solution, because when you get, for example, a stent, it's amazing, because you can breathe for, and you know, you're healed for, I don't know, 2 months, 2 years. But long term, when you continue to eat, for example, animal products, it will just get worse, and there will just be cholesterol in another artery. And it's the same with cancer. If you remove, from my research, if you remove the cancer, but you continue with your unhealthy eating choices and unhealthy lifestyle choices, that will just develop another illness in your body. And that was definitely the case with my dad. He had heart attack, and then they got rid of the heart attack, and then after that he had a stroke. He had a not stroke, but he had cancer, and then they, you know, cut out the cancer. But of course, by cutting out the cancer, that destroyed his lymphatic system. So I think that's my opinion. I'm no doctor, obviously, but I still think that we have to open our, like in Western countries, we have to open our eyes to different kinds of healing, and we have not just have this straight vision of like, no, that's the only way that works, because there are so many things apart from medication that work as well, and if we can incorporate them, it would be so much better. And I would really wish to see people, when they get cancer treatment, just also eating healthy food, because the food in hospitals is just junk food. I mean, it's like not that good. And I think it's also learning and researching about different ways of healing, if you do them or not. I mean, it's just your opinion, but just learning about them, and that there are other ways how people heal themselves is very important, because I think you can save so much suffering when you learn and continue. So that's my opinion. And what now? So maybe you don't have any illnesses, maybe you're not completely fine, but you're also not fine. So I think that this concept of the GRAPE CURE can also be very valuable in our life, that we understand that it's okay to eat fruit, and that fruit is actually very, very helpful for our body and can really help us to get more energized. So what I can really recommend, if you want to try it out, is to just eat grapes for a meal. Maybe you have lunch grapes. It's nothing bad about it, And after, for example, when I eat grapes for lunch, I just feel so incredible, and there are so many benefits of eating grapes. And maybe, like, I don't recommend anything, but you can also try out to eat, for 2 meals grapes and just see how you feel. So yeah, I think that's very important to understand that eating grapes, eating fruit is incredible helpful. And I think when maybe you know about Robert Morris, he's also a huge fan of the grape diet. So I think if you maybe want to read the book, you can find it on a lot of different platforms. It's not that expensive actually, and yeah, it's just really, really, really interesting. So if you have any questions, you can write the question in the comment section, but you can also ask me on Instagram. My name is FRUITYEVA. You can also check out my podcast, and yeah, it's a great podcast. It's really about interesting topics. It's my name is on the podcast. It's also FRUITYEVA, and that's it. So stay healthy, eat fruit, don't fear fruit, and have a beautiful, wonderful day. Goodbye.